Hello, Potterheads, and welcome to the live Q&A. I am thrilled to be joined by Alex G, and that is not short for something. It is G. All he needs is one letter from the alphabet, and he's good to go. Alex G from World Bicycle Relief. Alex, thanks so much for joining me here today.
And thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here and to share with your group.
And we're excited to have you. We're thrilled to have World Bicycle Relief as the charity partner for the Reflection 5K. For those who are wondering where I am, again, because I do tend to travel a good bit, we are finishing up our week in California. And yes, I am wearing Californian camouflage. If you need to blend in with a bunch of drunk tourists, nothing better. But I'm thrilled to take a break from that to talk to Alex and World Bicycle Relief. So, Alex, real quick, tell me, how did World Bicycle Relief get started?
Thank you for asking. That's a good way to start off. So shortly following a tsunami that hit in Sri Lanka in 2004, the World Bicycle Relief's founders, FK and Leah Day, kind of put their heads together and used their industry connections through their work at SRAM in the cycling industry to problem solve and put bikes on the ground in badly needed situations for healthcare workers and for students getting back to school, for the survivors of that tsunami as they work towards gaining mobility back. And shortly following that, the two of them also saw similar needs in other countries around the world. And that was kind of the inception of World Bicycle Relief. And since then, they've relied on those industry contacts and our own learnings throughout those 15 years to shape our programs and what we're doing today.
And so where is World Bicycle Relief doing its mission?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so in the 15 years, we've been in over 20 countries now, but our current programs are focused in 5 areas. We're in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Kenya, all countries in Africa. And then we've just recently expanded to our first Latin American country in Colombia in 2020, the beginning of the year.
How was 2020 for World Bicycle Relief? How did the year that shall not be named?
Right.
Go for it.
It was certainly daunting, as it was for a lot of people. But emerging on the other side of it, I must say, WBR had a really resilient year. Bicycles were still extremely needed all over the world, and the bicycle industry actually saw some spikes during the pandemic because it became a much safer way to travel for a lot of folks. But for people who are facing issues and barriers for mobility, those things didn't change with the COVID pandemic. They, in some cases, got more exacerbated. So having access to those bicycles, especially for frontline healthcare workers, was really crucial in 2020. And I'm proud to say that we were able to distribute just shy of 45,000 bikes in the year and train just under 100 mechanics in that time. We were able to open 13 new Buffalo Bicycle retail shops through our partners at Buffalo Bicycles Limited. And so it was a resoundingly good year, considering the challenges that everybody was facing.
So let's talk about those bicycles for a minute. You just said Buffalo Bicycles. So do they look like actual bison?
Not what we're typically seeing on the road here in the States.
Fair enough.
It's a little sturdier. It's very rugged and designed to withstand, a lot of different journeys, if you will. Dirt roads are not the same, right, as pavement. And so having a bike that's 50 pounds of steel is a crucial tool for a lot of folks. And it allows for a lot of mobility for goods as well as people, right? So entrepreneurs and farmers are able to take so much more with them on a bicycle that can carry up to 100 kilograms or roughly 220 pounds on the back of it, in addition to the rider. So these are big beasts of mobility, as we like to say, and they don't necessarily line up with your typical Schwinn or 7-speed that you would see here in the States.
Well, and imagine that's probably why you guys don't do donated bicycles, because with the Buffalo Bicycles, you have a more sturdy, more reliable mode of transportation, and one that's kind of universally fixable and repairable.
Right. That's right.
So talk about you mentioned mechanics. You mentioned the mechanics, so go there.
Having one bicycle with a set of spare parts and interchangeable parts that are easier for mechanics to work with has allowed for these bikes to stay in the field and stay in use much longer. Bicycles that were distributed back in 2007 are still out there on the field today, being used and utilized by the people and programs around them. So we've seen that model of having one bike that kind of fits all. It is designed in a unisex way so that it works for, young girls going to school and farmers taking their goods to work, and healthcare workers who need to maybe carry a patient on the back of the bike as well. And so there's such a versatility to this bicycle, and those spare parts have really kept the resiliency of the bike afloat.
Now, when you say farmers taking their goods like to market or to the nearest bigger town, larger village, I have heard stories. Please tell me, what is some of the weirdest things you guys have seen being carried by a Buffalo bicycle?
Well, and I mean, up to 2 or 3 other people piled onto the back of it in some cases. But I mean, you'll see guys who have tons of rebar that's strapped up to the back of it, or, farmers in their circumstance, sometimes people have things piled up to like 10 feet high on the back of these racks. And I think the metric that we've been able to gain from the data that we taken from the field, so much of what we do is driven by field data and doing analysis on what's working and what needs to be improved, et cetera. And some of what we've seen is that people can carry, I believe, 5 times what they could in their own arms, by themselves. With the Buffalo bicycle, they can carry up to 5 times more what they used to. So people really pile it high, and there's no end to it. But most commonly, we see people carrying milk and water and maize and things like that.
I heard goats.
Goats as well. Yeah, there were a few goats on the bikes.
Goats on bikes.
Yep.
That sounds like a very weird cover band.
Yeah, only on a buffalo, I'll tell you that. Goats on buffaloes.
Goats on buffaloes.
That's right.
Yeah, that sounds like a weird cover band. But Target, you said you trained nearly 100 mechanics last year. Explain to me the mechanics program.
Yeah, the mechanics training program is a very vital part to our entire model. Having at this point trained just under 2,500, I believe we just surpassed 2,500 mechanics trained in the field. And this is a parallel part of the distribution. So having people around the bikes who know how to fix them and switch out those spare parts and keep them out and running is really crucial, especially in some of the more rural areas that we are operating in. Bikes can get clogged with mud within a month, and so having somebody who knows how to work on them and oil the chain and do all of those things is really important. And I'm extremely impressed with the way that we've been able to integrate that into the rest of our models, and having community input and community participation at every level. What we do, from the distribution facilities where the bikes are built all the way to the community oversight where the bikes are being distributed. It is not us and not our role to come in and say who amongst the community needs the bikes. We're simply here to assess need and try to bring resources where that need exists.
So you have a bicycle that is allowing someone to get to school or get to work or have their own business. Simultaneously, you have mechanics who, and all of those first things help a local village or local town's economy, because people are getting more educated, they're getting to work, they're having more income, they're starting their own business, whatever it happens to be, they're farming, doing whatever. But then you also have the mechanics who are also, basically, you're creating a miniature microeconomy.
That's right. Yeah, we like to
all surrounded around a bicycle.
Correct. Yeah, bicycle economies, right? It is something that we continue to pursue because it's more than just the bicycles, like you're saying, right? It is mechanics, it is the retail shops available with the spare parts, it is everything, and the distribution facilities where these bikes are being built, right? We've got members of the community who are joining those teams and learning how to work with the Buffalo bicycle. And then, some of those team members have gone on to work in the field and continue to have jobs at World Bicycle Relief and inform our program and shape our program for future recipients. So it's been really wonderful to watch communities take hold of this model and apply it to their needs. And our role is simply to try and help meet those.
Awesome. So questions from some of our members. By the way, folks, if you are watching this live and you have some questions, just throw them in the comments, and so we can see them. And then we'll ask those questions. But we got some from our post we've had up for the last couple of days. So one of our members asked, what can we do outside of signing up for the Reflection 5K and getting our shirt, which you absolutely should sign up for the Reflection 5K and get your shirt, or 2 or 3 or 9 of them. What can we do to help? What can we do as volunteers, for example?
Yeah, that's another great question. First and foremost, what I like to point to when people ask that is fundraising. We could not do what we do without the help of our fundraisers. It is so much more than dollars raised. It is about reaching new eyeballs and getting in front of people who have never heard about World Bicycle Relief before. We're firm believers that as soon as people start to learn about the work we're trying to do, people quickly become affiliated with our work in some way, shape, or form. So we just want to reach as many people as possible. So if you're inspired by what we do, please share it with your friends and family, your neighbors. Buy a shirt from our website and wear it at work if you could, or just come to our free events. We've got virtual events happening throughout the year. We would love to have you join our community and learn more about the power of bicycles as we shape this program together.
Do you ever have volunteers go out into the field? Do you have anything like that, or volunteers being more hands-on?
Yeah, our volunteer opportunities are very centered around events. They tend to be. So when we do have in-person events, there can be some need for volunteers, but to be completely candid, most of our field work is done by our field teams and community participation. So we don't typically have volunteer opportunities in the field, and it's difficult for us to kind of piece together volunteer opportunities that don't fall around events here in the United States. With that being said, we're always looking for people who are looking to get involved. I am more than happy to interact with anybody who's interested in volunteer opportunities or more ways to get engaged with WBR, and we'll find something that works for you depending on where you are in the country.
Okay, that's great. And so the next question that came from our group is, we understand that you're operating you've operated in more than 20 countries around the world. Is there anything that you guys do in the United States? And I think I know the answer, but I'm asking you so you can give the answer, because people are we're asking about like their local homeless shelter, similar things for so impoverished areas here in the United States, more rural areas here in the United States.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and we are very cognizant of some of the similar mobility challenges that are faced here in the US. Unfortunately, at this point, our infrastructure does not support the distribution of the bicycles here in the United States. We're only working in these program countries that I outlined before. However, that's not to say that someday we won't have Buffalo bikes here in the US. Given their kind of unique, rugged design, it wasn't necessarily a decision not to bring them here. It was more just a conclusion that didn't necessarily fit with the mobility challenges we've seen here in the US. But as we continue to grow and scale as an organization, I anticipate those mobility challenges being addressed as soon as we can, really seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I would love to add, if you have a bicycle and you're looking to give it to someone who needs it, there are a lot of fantastic organizations that do that work here in the US. And I myself would be glad to connect you to any one of them, because it is another important thing to get bikes into the hands of people who need them here. And we would never want to discourage that. So if that is something that you're interested in, be happy to help connect the dots if I can.
That's awesome. So while WBR may not be doing it per se, there are other entities and organizations that are trying to make a difference with bicycles and solve some mobility and transportation issues here in the US. And that's good to know. Yeah. Next very important question for you, Alex. I hadn't asked this before. I should have asked it before. I apologize for my oversight. But do you have a Hogwarts house?
I have never been formally given one. I am a self-proclaimed Ravenclaw.
Self-proclaimed Ravenclaw. Okay, so Eagles, you have a job now to get Alex sorted and get him into your common room. I think that's would be reasonable. Now, I understand that you recently went through a little HP marathon yourself.
I did. Yes, I had to brush up before I came to your esteemed, presence. I didn't want to walk into the room and have myself slipping on it. So, yeah,
well, I wasn't going to quiz you or anything, but no, were you reading the books or were you watching the movies?
No, I have read the books through 3 times in completion. Okay. I haven't done that for at least 2 years now, so it's a little shameful, I will say.
That's no problem.
I went through the movies again and relived some of my favorite moments from the stories. Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, hopefully the Mirror of Erised was a favorite moment for you, and that is Absolutely. The inspiration for the Reflection 5K, which is available right now, folks. We're doing well. All the houses have reached their first goal. Some are getting close to their second goal. You need to get signed up. for this event. Get as many house points as you possibly can, but also because that will allow us to provide even more Buffalo bicycles for World Bicycle Relief, get them out into the field where they're needed, help train some more technicians and mechanics on how to repair these bicycles and create these wonderful microeconomies of these bicycle economies. So order that shirt. There's the link right there. Order the shirt, register for the event, and make that donation and make a huge difference in someone's life today. It doesn't take too many of you signing up to equal a bicycle. So sign up and make it happen. Alex, thanks so much again for joining me today.
And I can't thank you
really
guys enough.
appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody at Potterhead Running Club. This is so exciting, and I'm excited for the Reflection 5K. This is going to be awesome.
Thank you so much. Folks, go sign up. Do the thing. It's important. Click that
Please
button.
do. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again. We really appreciate you guys joining us for this Q&A.
Awesome. Alex, again, thank you for joining me, and thank you for all the incredible work you're doing to help solve mobility and transportation issues around the world. Folks, go sign up for the Reflection 5K and get your shirt. Have a great day. See ya.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.